1 week season.
Guys, today Hilow is going to talk about his near sweat in the 555 millimaker this past weekend. I mean, he was like a piece away from being right there at the top. And then also going to build around the Chargers and Jags game. All that and more coming your way next, guys. I am Cheeseman, your host. He is Hilow. This is the DFS Lab presented by 1 week season. You guys know the drill. We're building for week 11. And if you guys could drop a like below the video there and subscribe to the channel, we would, of course, love that. Hilow, how you doing, man? How was your weekend and how are things going? Obviously, I mean, we have to at least mention the fact that we actually saw each other last night. Me, you, and Stat ATL met up in like Statesville, North Carolina. Just broke bread together, man. It was great.
Yeah, dude, little burgers and beers going on.
Right,
yeah,
man.
Stat travels for his job, so he is up near us. You're up in Winston, I'm in Statesville. He's up near us, and like once, I don't know, every blue moon. And so yeah, we got together last night. It was cool seeing you all, putting a face to the name. We had a nice little chat with some dinner, and here we are talking the next day, dude.
I know, very next day, yeah, on the show. So yeah, man, give me your quick breakdown of this past weekend, the 555 milli for you. I know there were some users in the 1 week season Discord who were like, man, I didn't see you guys on Tuesday because, of course, we're recording this on Wednesday. It was a scheduling conflict for me. But they're like, Hilow, did he ship it and then skip town?
Yeah, see you guys.
Yeah,
No,
I'm out.
shit, I ain't going. You can't make me leave, dude. I'm staying as long
That's right,
as
dude.
the fam will have me, man.
That's right, dude.
No, so it was like, I don't want to call it a sweat because I made a pivot that cost me the sweat. But it was the closest I've been to like a ship this season. And like for a single entry 3 max type portfolio, that is a little bit more it's always exciting to have a ship, but like or a sweat, but like it's not going to happen as often, right? Or it shouldn't happen as often. If I'm not putting in 150, 300, 450 rosters a week, I'm putting in 9 to 12, maybe 8 to 12 rosters a week. This past week, I loved the slate and I didn't want to overextend my bankroll. So in order to get exposure to a higher chance of a sweat, I only entered 3 lineups and I only played the 555 milli. I liked the slate so much. I wanted to be able to give myself a chance for a higher chance of an exposure to a sweat. That sounded weird, but I wanted to give myself a greater chance of a sweat. And I knew that like I could have played my normal, the spy, the double spy, the 153 max. I always forget the name of it.
Power sweep.
The power sweep. I could have done all that and had played 8 to 9 to 12, whatever rosters. I just liked that slate because it was so difficult. And it was a slate where I felt like my edge was greater because I am not afraid to play Davis Mills at 2%,
Yeah.
which is where the potential sweat came from. So I played 3 rosters. I entered them all in the 555. I went max leverage. And in doing so, I effectively went 0 Devon Achane on my 3 rosters.
Yep.
And I pivoted directly from Achane to James Cook. Now, we look at these rosters, and one of the questions I posted them, well, the one that we're going to talk about on Twitter, X, whatever. And one of the comments was, why did you need to pivot from Achane at high ownership to James Cook at moderate ownership if you already were running a Davis Mills double, which is like 0.1% owned? While valid, I was playing too raw ceiling around that Davis Mills primary. And in my eyes, if we played out that slate 100 times, the Bills would probably have that game environment 8 to 10 times, like 8 to 10%.
Yeah.
So the ceiling for me, Devon Achane was an outstanding median projection play last week. His floor was rock solid because of the pass game usage, because of all that. We look at his output before the last 2 drives where he had those big runs and then a big run for a touchdown. Like he was just kind of returning a median game. And that was like within a 8 to 10% outcome game environment. So for me, I made the pivot from Achane to James Cook to give me a greater exposure to raw ceiling. And it's funny looking back on that now, like Devon Achane put up a raw ceiling game, 42, 43 points. But that swap from Devon Achane to James Cook cost me 32 DK points, which my roster, it's a Davis Mills, Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz, and Parker Washington game stack of that game. I knew the ownership was going to be low on it. It had the lowest game total of the week. People were kind of writing it off. I looked at the state of the slate, and it's like, what quarterback, what primary stack is putting the slate out of reach? And I kind of came to the realization that like nobody. Like if it wasn't going to be Lamar Jackson, he probably needed 4 or 5 touchdowns because of the low pass volume. If it wasn't going to be Josh Allen because the team wasn't getting pushed, surprised they freaking were, but they couldn't move the ball. Yeah. If it wasn't those two, it's like the next highest priced quarterback was Matthew Stafford. So like who was going to put that slate out of reach? It was really like nobody. So like my exposure, the quarterback that I thought had the best chance to put the slate out of the reach was Jared Goff. So I had a Goff primary with Amon-Ra and Jameson Williams. And then Jameson Williams was on all 3 of my rosters. I wanted to get exposure to what we talked about on the Slate podcast on Saturday, which was like the field is going to struggle with value on that slate. So I laid out 4 ways of accessing value. The first was including value in your primary. That lowers your composite salary and that gives you access to value, and it makes fewer things have to go right to break in your favor to succeed on that slate. The second was wide range of outcomes, cheap players. So Parker Washington, who had combined for 19 targets over the previous 2 games in the absence of Brian Thomas Jr., Travis Hunter, Brenton Strange, they were all out. So he was like my key value piece. One of the stacks I also ran, I talked about Jared Goff, I talked about Davis Mills, was Jackson Dart. Like the field was scared about the weather there. I was like, if Dart succeeds, he's running 2 scores in. And he did. Yeah. So like until he got concussed, Darius Slayton was my pairing partner with Jackson Dart. I brought it back with DeAndre Swift to make a game mini correlation from that game. That was looking fantastic until Slayton leaves in the second quarter with a hamstring injury. He comes back to the game and plays 1 series with Dart until Dart leaves with a concussion. But that was kind of the nature of that slate, is like there was no certainty. There was fragile chalk. The projections were struggling. Sims were struggling to put out plus EV rosters because there wasn't a lot of people that were projecting well. That's why I went with the pivot from Achane to Cook, because the Sims loved Achane because he was projecting well from a median standpoint. But I kind of took the stance of, if I'm going to ship this week, I want to be a little bit more okay with wider range of outcomes. So like James Cook, Jameson Williams, Parker Washington, the lineup this lineup finished with 178 points. So without the swap, and I had built it with Achane first, without the swap from Achane to James Cook, we're looking at 215 points, which would have finished 19th in the 555 milli. As it stands, it finished with 178 points, and I like min cashed for 900. But that was kind of the state of that slate that led me down there. We talked about it like last Tuesday, like that slate was setting up to be extremely tight for pricing. The primary stacks were difficult to diagnose. And so I wanted to lean into that. And that's why I love the slate. That's why I decreased my exposure to rosters and increased my exposure to like the highest payout type contest, the 555 milli. So that was kind of like walking the dog, how we got from Tuesday to Sunday. And by Sunday, I was all in those 3 primary stacks: the Lions primary, Houston primary, turning that into a game stack, and then just going over the field's uncertainty and the weather with the Giants and Chicago.
No, yeah, and I just want to underscore like the value of what you said with the James Cook and Achane, because like obviously, yeah, if you would have had Achane, you would have scored more. But imagine if Achane had, I mean, first of all, yeah, like you said, the game script itself was a extremely small percent game script of the Dolphins, like not just a good game, like pushing the Bills, dominating the Bills,
yeah,
and then 2 late like breakaway runs by Achane at like 40%. I don't know what he was at in that contest, like. In mine, he was like 35 to 40%. So imagine if he had been the one who had like maybe he had gotten his floor performance of 16 to 18, and then Cook had been like, had a huge game. Buffalo had more kind of like been the game script we expected. Like your lineup would have just like passed so many others. I mean, it's like if Achane had been 5%, then you probably would have done the opposite. But at 40% with just kind of that safe medium projection, I mean, again, there's massive value in that pivot, even though it didn't work out. Like you said, when you're a single entry player, you have to be able to be okay with doing things that's like, this may not work out. And if the chalk one hits, it's definitely not going to work out, even though you still cashed with, despite not having Achane, because man, the Mills stacks, they were littering the leaderboards on. I'm pretty sure that was.
I don't know how
optimal.
I don't know how many players outside of the OWS fam was on that.
Yeah, I don't think too many. I mean, it was just, I was like, oh my God. Because I remember like, I was like, I probably should have just taken my bye week last week, but the last week I was pretty much didn't have like any time to play, but just was like, okay, I'm just going to try and, I already had the 3 in my mind. I hadn't like even had time to listen to the slate. I hadn't read your article yet. You always do have those like, well, you like to call them vomit stacks, but it's like the stacks that are a guy like Davis Mills, or, maybe it's like last year it would have been Spencer Rattler sometime. I don't think that ever actually was the case. I saw the Davis Mills in your end around Sunday morning. I was like, oh man, it's probably going to work, but I can't get there mentally at this point. And then, yeah, man, come Sunday afternoon, they were everywhere. So props on that stack. But I think also just the value of what you're talking about with the pivot to Cook, like how valuable that would have been at his ownership compared to Achane if it had gone a different way.
Yeah, he was less than half. He was 16%, so almost 2.5 times lower than Achane was. So it's just the nature of the beast. Had I played, 12 rosters, maybe I would have landed on the Achane above. It wouldn't have shipped. It would have been, top 0.1%. But that's kind of just the nature of the beast of this game we're playing. Like I'm hunting first place, and I'm okay even on 8 to 12 rosters taking 2% primary stacks like all day. That's where you really make money in this game. It's not hunting for median. So I was happy with the play. Didn't work out this time.
Love it, dude. All right, let's jump into this slate. And where do you want to? Let me just get into a contest here first.
Yeah, I'll talk while you do that.
Okay.
You mentioned the fact that we met up, you, me, and Stat ATL Billy met up last night. We were talking about kind of what our lives and stuff like that. When we started talking, typically Billy records with you the same day that I record with you on Tuesdays. Because of your schedule, we shifted things around a little bit this week, and that's one of the things I love about OWS fans. We're so fluid and just working together as a team. But kind of whatever, behind the scenes stuff. You are recording with me now Wednesday, and you were recording with him later today. And he had mentioned that he does a lot of work to deconflict because we record ours first. So I'm going to deconflict with him because he did mention something about Jacoby Brissett. I wanted to go there on this build. I'm not going to. Shout out Billy. Go for it, dude. Build that on a little bit later today. But yeah, the Jacoby Brissett and Trey McBride is just such an easy starting point on this slate, again, where its pricing is tight. We don't have a lot of certainty. We don't have a lot of what I call projectable certainty or directional certainty even, which those are two different ideas. Projectable certainty, obviously, with the sims, with the projections. Directional certainty is like we have a high confidence that a team is going to succeed. We can place bets on that team and not worry about like picking the right player. We're going to go with a little bit different mindset. And again, I haven't looked at the slate until we just pulled it up. We are going to attack this Chargers-Jaguars game. Now, if we look at and a lot of it comes down to who the Jags are right now. They started the season, the first 4 games, leading the league in takeaways. They are a defense, structurally speaking, that is akin to the Bears, where they are highly aggressive from a structural standpoint. A little bit minute differences with how they scheme that up. Like the Jaguars are playing a lot of zone and a little bit different schematic differences there. But like the general feeling is these defenses are, structurally speaking, very similar defenses. What do? They are giving up explosives. The Jaguars are struggling with injuries to their secondary, and they're really only like giving up points or they're generating turnovers. We saw it like the first half and the second half of last week. They generated 2 turnovers in the first half. The second half, they couldn't stop a sneeze. So this is a defense that I want to be attacking. Like I want to lean into that. One, like turnovers aren't a negative for an offense. You give up a pick six, you're getting the ball right back. You give up a turnover in your own end of the field, you're hopefully giving up points, and that's furthering the game environment. Where it really comes into effect is like we don't want red zone turnovers for our team. Like
Yes.
the fucking Packers, man. We don't want that.
Yeah.
Like Jordan Love stopped turning the football over. His second half turnover at the end, or his first half turnover at the end of the first half.
The fumble.
It was the difference in the game against the Eagles. Took 3 points off the board. And you could argue like Jalen Hurts had a red zone turnover as well. But like Love, I think in all 3 losses, he's had a key turnover in the red zone.
Yes.
Or gotten stopped in 4th and 1, and or I guess I think all 3 of those games he got stopped in 4th down in the red zone as well. But yeah, anyway, I digress a little bit. Had to get some Packers venting off my chest.
At least we hope it's growing pains. We hope it's just growing pains.
Yeah, dude. Love needs to play better in key situations. LaFleur needs to call better plays in key situations. He's too damn predictable. Anyway, we were talking about that last night. But back to this like Chargers and Jacksonville game. The Jags are facing one of the highest pass rate over expectations against. They are a extreme pass funnel team. And we know that the Chargers they're a throw the football first team. Kamani Vidal has filled in admirably. He's not anything more than like he's not making guys miss. He is a short, stocky bowling ball type, and he's not to the level of like Cam Scatterbo, but he's going to take what the offensive line is blocking for him, and he's going to get like a yard after contact per attempt, very similar to like Cam Scatterbo.
Yeah.
The difference is like Kamani Vidal is running a lot of outside zone stuff. He's running a lot of off tackle stuff. Cam Scatterbo was like straightforward. I'm going to run guys over. So like differences there, but like understanding what this team is right now in their current state and who they are without both of their starting offensive tackles, without their top 2 running backs. This is a pass first team, and they are looking to sustain drives and layer in like downfield work through that or behind that. And then structurally speaking, like Keenan Allen started the season off hot. Now he's like a key down type situational player in this offense. Like they had to give him a little pop pass so he could get his 2nd reception last week to break the Chargers all-time receiving record. So if we look at like who the primary pieces are, like the emergence of Aronda Gadsden has allowed Keenan to now be this like situational guy. Well, now Gadsden picked up an injury last week. It was labeled a quad contusion. We saw multiple quad contusions. Geno Smith had a quad contusion last week too. But like Geno Smith looked like absolute garbage back there. He could like barely walk. So I don't know. Is he going to play? I don't know. But those 2 players are effectively to me in a similar role in this offense, where they are the mismatch guy over the short to intermediate areas of the field. Who is on this offense is working the high value roles? It's still Quentin Johnston, and now it's Ladd McConkey. So to me, if we want to like buy into this pass funnel matchup through Justin Herbert, we can do so through the 2 likeliest places where production is going to flow. Quentin Johnston in the intermediate to deep role and a high red zone role, and Ladd McConkey. So we'll start this with those 3, Herbert, McConkey, and Quentin Johnston. And what I like also about that stack is like it's a fairly affordable primary. It costs 17.3 for a 3-player stack. That's about 30% ish, a little bit under 29% of our total salary for our primary here.
Love it, dude. All right. So got a nice little double stack. I like that. So do you want to do a bring back on the Jags side? I guess
we're going to turn this We're going to turn this into a game stack because the Jaguars are a run balanced team that needs to be pushed. And if they're getting pushed, then they are completely fine entering like oh shit mode. And when they're in oh shit mode,
there it is.
They are just slinging the football. And when I look at like the state of this team, it's like Travis Hunter is lost for the season. Brenton Strange is still out. Brian Thomas Jr. has been missed last week with the ankle injury. If depending on the severity of that, he could most certainly miss this week. So the team goes out and they try and save their season by getting another pass catcher in Jacoby Myers. And the thing about Jacoby Myers is he's like the professional's professional, like hands of hands of glue. He's catching everything that is thrown his way, and the way that he is. Like his mentals, his understanding, his maturity in the game. We saw last week, and they were talking about it on the sportscast. Like this guy is just you know what to expect from him. So he plays 44% of the offensive snaps in his first game with the team. We have Tim Patrick, who was asked to play the starting outside role opposite Parker Washington. Washington is a guy that is a schemed usage guy. Like he's not a lead wide receiver. They're not using him that way. So like if Brian Thomas Jr. is out, and we still have Travis Hunter out, if Brenton Strange is going to remain out, I kind of like buying into the potential snap rate jump for Jacoby Myers in his second game. And he's priced at only 4,600.
Yeah.
He's in this game environment. And if we have the Chargers now pushing this game environment, pushing the Jags into oh shit mode, I really like Jacoby Myers to probably be up there in the 65, 75% route participation rate range this week. And as like, who I expect to be like the primary option through the air. I really like him this week. Like last week, I was all over Parker Washington. 19 targets the previous two games combined. Now the equation has shifted a little bit for me. So really like Jacoby Myers, if only if you're attacking this game environment. Like he's not valuable to us as a one-off really. More so
that's a good note.
In this game environment. Yeah.
So with that, okay, so we're at 5,500. Do you want to kind of like see what we have salary wise here? Do you want to look at defense or tight end, or do you want to go to running back next?
Let's look at running back real quick, and then we'll allow what salary we have left to dictate where we go the rest.
Okay.
Like Josh Jacobs stands out as probably the top on paper play. At the top tier of player pricing, he scored 11 touchdowns. He went through a 3-game stretch between week 7 and week 9 where Emmanuel Wilson was getting more run. To me, that was due to the calf injury, or likely due to the calf injury to Josh Jacobs. I don't think they wanted Emmanuel Wilson like being a true change of pace guy playing 45-50% of the offensive snaps. He had been doing so, I think, because of that calf injury. So what did we see last week? We see Josh Jacobs be a complete workhorse again. Now that probably changes a little bit if the Packers blow the Giants out. Had this been Jackson Dart, this could have been a really fun game environment. Dude, after they fire Brian Dable, just go to Jameis, dude. Start Jameis, man. What are we doing with?
I know. Please just start.
What are we doing
Jameis.
with Russ? Yeah,
it's like a holiday in DFS, dude.
Yeah, dude. So that could change between Wednesday now and Sunday. But if I were Kafka, the team is mine for the remainder of the season, dude, just bring in Jameis. Come on, man.
Famous
you want to prove that you have the balls to run this team. This is your audition. Don't just fucking play it safe with Russ, man. Go to Jameis. Anyway, I digress. It's likely we're going to see
right there with you.
It's likely we're going to see Russ here. So if the Packers are controlling the game, I don't know if Josh Jacobs sees a workhorse role, but if they are running up the score, it's likely to come through Josh Jacobs against a defense that is still allowing explosives at the second highest rate on the ground. We know we're targeting explosives in kind of my new setup here. Josh Jacobs stands out to me at the top. We'll continue here. Bijan is a difficult ask against the Panthers, even at home. He's going to project extremely well. He's probably going to garner some ownership. But we've seen this Panthers defense kind of be a new animal, and we've seen the Falcons struggle recently. Christian McCaffrey is going to project very well. He's going to draw some ownership. Bucky Irving's probably going to be out again. Kyron Williams is touchdown dependent as they get. But the two that kind of stick out to me the most at this top range are Rico Dowdle, back to the well here. Coming off a disappointing game, we might see his ownership be influenced by that. and Josh Jacobs. So let's pop those two and see what that does to our.
Okay, yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, so we're gonna go value tight end. Well, we'll pop in a defense and see what might be okay here.
Okay, yeah. So let's go. I haven't even looked at game totals yet. What's like the lowest?
Yeah, I'm not gonna look at game totals. We'll go feel. We're going off feel here.
Okay, perfect.
I mean, the Texans stand out. They're on the road, but at 3,700. I played the Texans defense on my Davis Mills primary, so it was 4 players from the Texans last week. We could go there. We probably want to see if we can save a little bit more. We could go the Chargers in the same type of setup where it's like they're running away with it. The touchdowns come through Herbert, and then forcing Myers. Let's do that.
Yeah, because again, Myers doesn't need to. He can still get there easily.
Right. So we know we could save some salary at tight end, or at least keep us on pace here. We got 5,100 remaining per player. So let's look at wide receiver and see if anything at the top end of the range kind of stands out. Can't afford JSN, Puka, Chase, Rice. So those are off the table. Devontae Adams had a back injury. What did he have? Oblique.
That's right. That's oblique. Yeah.
Continuing to scroll. T. Higgins is very interesting. I was all over T. Higgins in his breakout game 2 weeks ago. T. Higgins is interesting at 6K. Jordan Addison is interesting at least, although I continue to insist that JJ McCarthy is not ready to lead an NFL offense.
I know Justin Jefferson just like, I wish they would just drop his price a little bit more because
he's just always garnering ownership. So
exactly.
Can't. I don't see any like screaming value per se. Like we know that the Packers are struggling with pass catchers, but like we've got Jacobs on the roster. So like Christian Watson is interesting if we want to double dip and lower the combined cost, but that doesn't leave us enough salary for McBride. We would need 500 more. Where are we going to squeeze 500? Yeah, let's go to tight end. Like, what happens if we put McBride in? We have 3,900 left. Is there any value?
Scrolling.
Yeah, scroll
backs.
Scroll the fuck down.
Mims, Bateman. I mean, yeah, it's all of these obviously are. It's not. I mean, maybe something will open up here later in the week, but obviously at this moment.
Yeah, we don't like that at this moment. So back to the wild tight end. We can't really afford McBride. Continuing to go down the list. Dalton Kincaid is probably going to be out this week.
So is that Knox who would benefit?
Yeah, he has a hammy, so he's probably out. Dawson Knox played 81%, I think off the top of my head, of the offensive snaps in the last game that Kincaid missed, but let's like you're pretty much touchdown hunting at that point.
Yeah, it's the Bills are tough. Just Tampa Bay is, I mean, apparently they're still a pass funnel to a certain extent.
They are 100%. They are. I'm trying to see what Kittle gets us access to. Like Kareem Hunt against Denver, no. Not really anything.
Is there? I mean, there's not a cheap defense that you can just stomach, is there? And we can get McBride.
Let's see.
I mean, I get it's Giants or Titans, which, obviously we don't want the Giants.
No.
Titans, yeah.
Browns against Baltimore, Bengals, Bucks against the Bills.
Titans have put up some decent scores, and they're at home against Houston, which is Stroud back?
Probably. He was concussed, so I would think. I mean, They haven't really put up decent scores outside of the 2.
It's a total punt. It's
return.
A total punt.
Yeah. No, we're gonna leave the Chargers there. So we'll just figure out tight end. I don't want to eat up too much time here. Again, we're just doing this live this week.
Exactly. So
I don't know, man. I guess maybe we could go Knox. Pat Freiermuth is probably going to be mega owned after his 31-point outing against the Bengals last time these two teams played.
Oh, yeah.
Don't really like that ownership. Let's go. Yeah, man, this sucks.
yeah. It's just that these last 2 pegs.
Yeah, let's just throw Knox in and see what that does for us.
Yeah, I mean, it's
6,900. We got a ton now.
Yeah, it's still like, I mean, Kyron, Nico Collins.
Nico's interesting. Was all over him, obviously, last week. 15 targets. But he's just, like, not performed. Like, that connection hasn't been there with Stroud this season.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still, like, a lot to pay for what. I mean, his highest game is 26. I mean, Henry at Cleveland, no way. Judkins, yeah, that's tough.
Could go like double tight end here.
With McBride, and then I guess you could pay up the defense if you wanted to.
Yeah, like 600 left.
I mean, we could just do that.
Yeah, now, like, looking over this, like, with the injuries to the Pittsburgh secondary, that's something to watch this week. They had 2 corners leave the game last weekend.
Oh, right.
So keep an eye on that for that game. That could open up that game stack and bring us back to Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let's just leave the Chargers in. We'll leave it. God, I don't fucking like these last 2 pieces.
Obviously, you want McBride at the tight end. Is there any way, like?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think we'll just end it. We'll go.
What is Freiermuth priced at?
In that range, 32-ish. Let's do this. Let's go Trey McBride at tight end and double tight end with Dalton Schultz. Let's call it a day.
All right. Love it. There we go, guys. That's the build. Finished with a Herbert stack along with Quentin Johnston, Ladd McConkey. Going with the 2 strong plays at running back, Josh Jacobs, Rico Dowdle, with obviously Myers coming back on that game stack, and then double tight end, Trey McBride, Dalton Schultz, and the Chargers D. Hilow, love it, man. Appreciate the time as always. And yeah, man, we will look forward to this weekend. Hopefully one of us can ship it, or someone in the OWS fam.
Let's go, dude.
All right. See you guys.